Hello YouTube and welcome to Teach Me TF2, a show where we cover the strengths, weaknesses, weapons, and strategies of all the different classes of Team Fortress 2. Knowledge is power in this game and you don't want to be left in the dark. With me today is the beautiful, elegant, lovely, stunning, gorgeous, amazing Ferocity. Say hello. Hi. Yeah, yep. And, yeah. And, today we are covering the Demoman class. And, that is not all. We are, covering the Demo Knight class as well. Or the Demo Knight variation on his class. You may notice that this is a drastically different format from our previous, installments in this series. We have gotten some feedback from several people. Most of it was negative, so we're trying to rework this this series from the ground up and try out this new format, the post commentary over some general gameplay footage and stuff like that, and you know, capturing certain clips whenever I feel like it. Yeah, we hope you like it. Let us know in the comments section below. Anyways, we're covering the Demoman class. He is a demolitions expert, which means that he deals with explosions. You know, he has an explosive strategy to him, basically. But despite his, you know, his appearance and just everything that you could tell by looking at him, he's probably the most strategic of all the classes. He's the one that requires the most brain power to use, I guess, or at the very least patience. For the Demoman Strengths, he has the unique ability to fire in an arc, which is very useful when you have obstacles or other things in your way. And this works both for his grenade launcher and his sticky bomb launcher. His grenades can bounce off of walls, while his sticky bombs, you know, kind of stay attached to the first surface they come into contact with. Well, seeing as how you fire in an arc, if there is, you know, if you can actually take cover with the Demoman class and still be able to, you know, deal some damage to your enemies, you know, just kind of stand behind the cover or whatever and just kind of fire upwards into an arc in your enemy's direction and hopefully hit. But, you know, they have absolutely no chance of hitting you because they can only fire in a direct line. You can fire in an arc, which means that it'll go over the obstacle onto the enemy. And it kind of also helps with tricky situations where, let's say you're below a sentry and you need that sentry to be destroyed, but you can't get in range because that sentry will, you know, inevitably kill you. So what you do is you fire your grenades into the arc, and you know, they bounce around and hit the sentry, and the sentry explodes, essentially. The Demoman, both of his guns, they fire explosives, which both have their pros and cons attached with them. I think one of the more powerful applications, or one of the most useful parts of the Demoman class, is that he can lay traps using his sticky bomb launcher, which means he can fire a bunch of sticky bombs in a set location or a bunch of sticky bombs around, you know, an entrance or something like that, so that, you know, once an enemy passes over that, they explode. And the added benefit to the sticky bombs is that they deal about 100 damage each, and they compound, so, you know, you get hit by the full 100 damage from the one sticky bomb, but if you're also within the blast radius of another sticky bomb, that just adds 100 more damage to the equation, essentially. And finally, we have the, when I said that the soldier is the most mobile class because of his rocket jumping, I was kind of misguided in my statement right there. The most mobile class technically is the Demoman because of his sticky jumping, because or at the very least, sticky jumping is much easier and more, you know, doable than rocket jumping, because you can run up, jump, crouch, and then detonate, and it'll fly off, and then you'll fly off, but you decide when it detonates. You don't have any kind of delay. You know, it's instantaneous, which kind of leads into my next my next little part, which is the weaknesses. Really, with the Demoman, while he can sticky jump, and he can sticky jump great distances, and he can go high and far and very fast, you don't want to, or you probably don't want to, because it will take down a huge portion of your health, over half, if you do a successful sticky jump. And along with that, the Demoman, being a better planner than a fighter, he's not one to, be in the fray. He's not one to be fighting with other people. His projectiles are slow moving. They explode on a delay. They're not very accurate at all. They bounce around a lot. They're very hard. They're very cumbersome to handle. So you don't want to be fighting people directly head on a whole lot. As the Demoman, especially in open corridors, if you must fight head on, make sure it is in a narrow corridor where they don't have a lot of wiggle room, where you have a direct shot at them. His combat capabilities kind of rely on the environment around him. Is it a narrow corridor? Is his enemy, the ideal distance away from him? And this means that the Demoman requires a higher skill level, or at least a higher brain capacity, I guess, or brain capabilities. He is the thinking man's class, and you got to get inside the mind of like, okay, so I'm not very good at fighting, but I am good at trapping. What do I want to do? Well, for strategies, you want to set traps, and you want to draw your enemies into those traps. You want to avoid combat as much as possible, and if anything, you want to draw your enemies into a trap where you can devastate them entirely. Along with that, along with the trapping and all that stuff, with your sticky bomb launcher, what you want to do is, lay down a lot of sticky bombs on a point of interest, on a control point, on a payload, or on or near a payload, on or near the intelligence and capture the flag, on or near the Australium and special delivery. All these things, things that people have to get near, lay sticky bombs on them so that they will not want to go, around that. Along with that, the Demoman, again, is the thinking man's class. You want to plan out your attacks carefully. You want to pick your targets carefully. You want to make sure that you can get the drop on your enemy. You can draw him in, bend your enemy to your will, make them do what you want. But the Demoman has his limits, and you want to exploit those limits if you're not playing a Demoman. If your enemy is the Demoman, this is what you want to do against a Demoman. What you want to do if you're facing a Demoman, you want to engage him in open corridors where you do have lots of room to move around. You want to either get really far away so his projectiles won't reach you, or you want to get in really close so that you'll be long past it, no matter what class you are. Something you could also do is, the Demoman is quite, twitchy. He has to be very patient. So he's kind of itching for an opportunity to come up, to get the drop on you and make you the fool and all that stuff. So what you'll want to do is, you see a bunch of sticky bombs laid down on the control point or whatever, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to walk up to them and back away very quickly, and he'll detonate it, and, the joke's on him now, because your team can capture the control points. He has to engage in open combat on your terms now, and, and he's going to fail because he cannot fight very well. if there are a group of sticky bombs that are bothering you and your team and you want to do away with them, just know that when the Demoman dies, the sticky bombs disappear. So if you kill the Demoman, the sticky bombs will explode harmlessly, and your team can just rush in. Oh right, yeah. So we have the Demo Knight variation on the Demoman. Basically, when you get a shield and a sword for the Demoman, you get a drastically different class called the Demo Knight class, and he is so drastically different from the Demoman class because of his weapon loadout and his new capabilities that, you know, he is considered to be his own class essentially. So what makes him different? Well, to start, for starters, the Demo Knight class is he's a melee-based class. He will occasionally have a ranged weapon on him, but more often than not, the Demo Knight class is going to be using his sword. They're resistant to certain damages. A lot of their swords have, set detriments to them. They have a charge attack. But yeah, so covering the strengths for the Demo Knight, you have the increased melee capability. Before you had the bottle, and now you have this big honkin' sword that you can swing at someone and slice their head off, clean off, and it's pretty dang amazing. And along with that, you have increased resistance to damage, different types of damages depending on your shield. Along with that, as a Demo Knight, you have the charge, which essentially, you use your right click and you charge into an enemy, and your sword starts glowing red or blue depending on your team, and it starts buzzing with electricity, and then you swing it and you get a guaranteed hit, or well, not guaranteed hit, but you get a guaranteed critical hit if you hit. Well, actually, that doesn't have to do with the charge and charge. That actually has to do with either the Eyelander or the Nessie's 9-iron or any other cosmetic variation on those weapons that are functionally identical. Essentially what that is, it's a mechanic that you have certain attributes taken away. You start out with decreased health, decreased movement speed, but as you kill enemies, as you gain heads, the more powerful, the more capable, the faster you become, and the more health you have, so you become a much better fighter. And I believe the heads max out at around 4 to 5. It's very cumbersome handling a Demo Knight class, even more so than the Demoman class. However, his strengths outweigh his weaknesses, or his strengths make him worth it. Much like the Pyro, the Pyro is incredibly useful, but the Pyro has some very, very crippling weaknesses attached to him. Same thing with the Demo Knight class. The Demo Knight class, you lose the sticky bomb launcher, a huge asset to your gameplay style, but since it changes the class so drastically, you don't really need the sticky bomb launcher, but you still lose it, and that's still somewhat of a weakness. Another weakness for the Demo Knight class is that he's stapled to the melee range, and that basically means that he's not going to be able to get a whole lot of hits in on someone who, like say he's charging up against a heavy who's already revved up, who has already revved up his gun and is about to fire and is ready to fire, and you're charging up against this heavy. You have no chance of killing that heavy, taking his head, or doing anything, because you'll be taking a lot of hits while you're charging at someone, especially since you're basically stuck to a straight line, so you can't deviate or change your strategy if they move out of the way. With great distance comes great difficulty. The Demo Knight class, as you probably have seen, is very strategy intensive. Just more like you have to be resourceful more than like a great tactician or whatever. You know, so I mean, like, what strategies you might want to take on. You know, we have said this before. You want to gauge your distance. You need to have, you know, you need to be able to prioritize. You need to be able to, you know, see the pros and cons in all situations and decide based on that all in a split second. You should probably keep your enemies in range of you, which you know, I cannot stress that enough, because, you know, if you aren't in range, you can't hit them and they can't die. And you know, again, plan out your attacks, know when and who to charge into. You know, make sure that, you know, you still have control of the battlefield, just in a different way. Everyone is fighting on your terms, but you're in a different setting. With all these classes, they have some very distinct limitations, and you'll probably want to exploit these limitations if you're facing against a Demonite. And also, you know, with the Demonite, a very good strategy with the Demonite class is target other Demonites, especially ones who also, especially if you have an Islander and they have an Islander, because then you collect any and all heads that they are currently carrying, and your weaknesses also apply to them. Some strategies that you can take against the Demonite. Basically, what you can do, you know, just make sure you're either really close, really far away. Make sure you know where every single Demonite is. Don't let them get the drop on you. You see a Demonite charging towards you, turn and run away as fast as you can. Keep them out of range. Fire everything at them. Make sure they can't get you at all. Make sure you're out of their way, because they are kind of glued to a rail once they start charging at you. Some Demonites, if they're carrying the Islander or the Nessie's 9-iron, or, you know, other swords that are functionally identical, what you'll want to do, since they are slow starters, you want to take them out as fast as possible. Well, I hope you found this episode, or this new format, to be enjoyable and informative. Again, please leave a comment in the comment sections below to let us know if you like it, if we should change anything, if we should keep on this track, if we should just tear this new format out and put in the old format. Just let us know. We're still kind of experimenting. We're still learning. We're open to suggestion, basically. I know that some of the people who gave me the negative feedback would disagree that I'm willing to listen to their feedback, but I apologize. Thank you for suggesting that to me. It has been much easier. But anyways, let us know what you think. It really helps us out. Let us know if there are any improvements that need to be made, any fat that needs to be cut out. If this new format is received well, we will remake the old videos in this format. God, how do we end this? Anyways, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, YouTube!